the Australian who threw boomerangs, and kind of rework him a little bit to turn him into like this deadly assassin who was just desperate to be something bigger and better.
Potentially chance here, but this is Sony dealing with the Spider-Man universe. Like there's a chance they just screw this up.
I think there is a strong chance it could be one of those great mid-90s, mid-2000s, so bad it's good films. I didn't expect us to get into Taylor Swift.
Well, I mean, we're talking Super Bowl. We kind of have to. Ooh, I hadn't thought of that one.
Because we both got very excited when we saw they announced that.
Yeah.
It's been a little while. It's a big franchise.
Yeah.
It's been around for a while. That's the kind of thing they'd spend Super Bowl money to promote.
You want to merge Funimation and Crunchyroll into one place, but then give subscription options of, I just want to subscribe to the Crunchyroll catalog.
They've lost 1.3 million active subscribers in Q1. Hello, and welcome to Season 2 of Cutscene Convos. It's still episode 101, but it's Season 2. I've been informed that's how they do that in the animes by my good friend Horizontal. We have got a jam-packed episode this week to bring in the new year. We've got Captain Boomerang as our character profile. We're going to be previewing the Madam Web film. We're going to be making our predictions for what juicy trailers we're going to get during the Super Bowl on Sunday, as well as talking about Disney's big losses in Q1 before wrapping it all up with our Nerd News Network. But before all that good stuff, Horizontal, how's your week been, pal?
My week has ended up being a bit of a weird one. Unfortunately, my girlfriend got ill on like Fridays Friday she was like feeling a bit rough, and then Saturday she was like, oh, I'm ill. So it was like pretty much my week's just been looking after her and quietly getting on with bits of work here and there, sorting out stuff for the podcast, prepping for season 2, as you'll have all just enjoyed a brand new intro as you're listening to this bit, plus a bit of new branding here and there that you might spot. And then other than that, I'll be honest, I've been binging anime. That has been my quiet mornings while the girlfriend's been resting. I've been binging Gundam, going to Gundam, which I was just telling you about before we recorded. But for people that don't know, Gundam is essentially Transformers, but a bit more R-rated, a bit more blood, a bit more guts. And it's very enjoyable, and I wish I'd started watching it sooner, to be honest.
Enough.
So, that's been my week. How's your week been?
Too bad. I mean, you've missed. I feel like you've missed out a big part there. Launching the new KCP.
Oh yeah. Do you know what it is? That's been like months ago since it was completed, and like it happened so quick from us getting like the word that it was launching to it coming out. But yeah, the KCP got their second decal in Rocket League for the next year. I got to design it, so that means I have 2, technically 3 designs if you take last year's home and away as 2 separate ones. But yeah, got another design into Rocket League, which is very cool. The fans seem to love it. It seems to be well received. Bit of controversy.
People I've seen on Twitter just absolutely gassing it. It's crazy.
Yeah, there has been a bit of controversy around the decals this year from some teams.
What's that?
Just, unfortunately, communication's been a bit rough with Psyonix, and due to the games industry at the moment with layoffs and stuff, and obviously people probably over there having to do the jobs of 10 people. So it's not on them. And just like things like paint finishes, that just certain bits of information weren't relayed very well for some teams, which has kind of made their decals not turn out as good as they wanted.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's just one of them, unfortunately. It's no one particular's fault, but for us, it went smoothly, and everyone seems to love it. So, yeah, I completely forgot about that.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So, how's your week then?
Busy. Yeah, it's been a busy week. It was one of the weeks that I thought was going to be quite chill, and then it's just spiraled into chaos. From last minute projects to projects that I've just found out are happening next month when I'm supposed to be moving, that are going to take the entire month.
Nice.
So that's going to be next month. I'm going to look just solemn through every episode. I'm just like, yeah, I'm here. it was my father's birthday on Wednesday,
Nice.
which was good. I need to remember now that when this comes out, we're going to be 2 days removed instead of 1 day removed. That's going to have
We
to
are.
that's going to have to factor into when I'm talking about it, because obviously right now Wednesday was yesterday. By the time this comes out, it was like 4 days ago.
This is true.
So yeah, I went out for dinner last night and it was lovely.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just speeding up at a rate of knots, and you know, it's like when a week that's supposed to be like the chill week just ends up spiraling. You're just like, what's going on?
Yeah,
but we're getting there. We're getting there. Right. I've made no secret about the fact. Actually, have we even discussed it? I don't know. I've been playing Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned
it. I enjoy it a lot. I finished the main campaign on Tuesday, so now it gets to slot nicely into my personal time video game instead of the game I feel like I need to stream, which is great. So as a result, character profile this week is Captain Boomerang.
That's why.
Yes. So this character profile is on post New 52 Captain Boomerang. So that is after 2011. So if there's something here that you're like, oh my god, I can't believe you missed that, did it definitely happen? Fake news. Right. So George Digger Harkness, aka Captain Boomerang, first appeared in Suicide Squad Volume 4, Number 3, January 2012, in this form.
Okay.
Born in Australia with just his mother to raise him, Harkness became obsessed with boomerangs, hoping he could use his love of them to one day reconnect with his father, who was apparently quite adept with a boomerang. This obsession only grew in severity and violence once his mother explained the myth of Bobby the snake god, who invented the first ever boomerang in Australian Aboriginal law. Eventually, and now a man, he moved to America with the hope of using his talents to become a master thief. However, he found himself continually foiled and outmatched trying to deal with the Flash. Eventually, Harkness would align himself with other members of the Flash's Rogues Gallery to become a member of the Rogues. However, this didn't give any of them much help in dealing with the Scarlet Speedster, and after some more time spent battling and losing to the Flash as a bank robber, most crushingly when they were all individually dropped off gift-wrapped to the police, as a member of the Rogues he was no more, and he left Central City to become a hitman. It was in his new job as a travelling hitman his true danger and efficiency with boomerangs would finally shine through, and it upgraded him from a failed bank robber to a truly deadly threat. After some successful time as a hitman, he was finally caught and arrested. Following 3 additional murders of other inmates, he was transferred to Belle Reve Penitentiary, where he was unfortunate enough to be enlisted by Amanda Waller to join Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad. Harkness would go on to become a mainstay of the modern Suicide Squad, alongside Deadshot and Harley Quinzel, who he'd had fleeting interactions with in his previous years, forever fulfilling his work for Amanda Waller through threats of death, but never quite able to fully commute his sentence. He would go on to die many times for the squad, but always somehow was revived one way or another. Most notably, he was killed and he accidentally became a digital ghost of sorts. So another member of the team called Hack, who was she's essentially a comatose patient who can interface with computers, was able to essentially pull his construct off of the internet and revive him from that, which is kind of cool. One way or another, though, he's always going to end up back with Amanda Waller and back as her pawn on the Suicide Squad. He's very different from like the Silver Age, Golden Age he was initially introduced in. Because the Rogues, especially in the Golden Age, were like they weren't evil in the sense of murderers like your Jokers and stuff. They were like
Yeah.
they were criminals. They were legit criminals who had like morals. They were going to turn up. They were going to try and rob the bank, and they weren't going to put anyone in danger they could avoid putting in danger. Which is why the Flash like gets to be a bit more lenient. Because he's like, well, I mean, do I deal with this fire or do I deal with the bank robbery?
Yeah.
Because I know the rogues aren't going to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
That fire is going to hurt people.
Yeah.
Which is often how a lot of like them stories would go. But they decided to take someone who was a bit of a joke, the Australian who threw boomerangs, and kind of rework him a little bit to turn him into like this deadly assassin who was just desperate to be something bigger and better. Obviously through like the Task Force X situation, he's put in this position where he's got so many consecutive life sentences that they put a bomb in him and they're like, you go do what we say, and if you do it long enough, you'll work off your sentence. But like, I can't remember exactly what it is, but like they'll have like say 15 consecutive life sentences, which is like 300 years, and each mission will take off like 2 years.
Yeah.
And like all of these are like, oh yeah, completely. And all of these missions are like, if you don't die, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it how I tell you to do it, I might kill you myself.
Yeah.
And if you get caught, no one's coming to save you because it's a black operation that no one can know about.
So then you're going to die anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's an absolute scam, which is why the bombs are almost important, because it's kind of like I mean, even if you do manage to work off all your sentence, we've still got a bomb in your neck. What do you think we're going to do?
Yeah.
Ironically, in his first mission, he was actually sent in purely as a trading piece. Because working as a hitman, he'd killed a very high-up member of a terrorist organization who had some hostages. So Waller had made him think he was in charge.
Got you.
Sent him in unknowingly to be trade bait.
Got you.
Like, just straight away, just with the backstabbing. Yeah. She's like, there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, that is Captain Boomerang.
Very
Over
cool.
the next few weeks, we will cover a few more members of the squad that came with the launch version of the game.
Sounds good.
And yeah, we'll go from there. Up next,
Madam
Web. Comes out next week. I don't think we'll be able to review it next week because it comes out on a Wednesday and showings seem limited around my neck of the woods.
Yeah, well, I will have to see if that happens. Probably not.
But yeah, let's talk about kind of what we're expecting from this before the internet starts to tell us too much.
Before they sway our perception.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's been, when they first announced this, I think we were both pretty tentative, considering Sony's track record.
I think that's a very fair way to put it.
Yeah. But we were intrigued as to what they might do with a story here. And I feel like as they've announced more of the cast and shown stuff, it's been a bit more, okay, this looks like it could be good, which is better than Morbius had, because I just looked bad off the rip. Potentially chance here, but this is Sony dealing with this Spider-Man universe. Like there's a chance they just screw this up story-wise.
I think it was a film that didn't need to be made, but that doesn't inherently mean it's going to be bad.
No.
I am very concerned that Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney and co were lied to. And they were made to believe it was an MCU film when in fact it is not. There's just been some things they've said in interviews that I've heard, and I've just kind of gone, do you think you're going to be next to like Robert Downey Jr. in the next film? Like the way they're kind of talking, like Marvel's like great history in their cinematic universe. I'm like, I feel like you might have been lied to.
Or is this, Sony was saying they want to bring the stuff into the MCU. Is this
Um,
them basically being like, oh yeah, we've got this plan that like our Sonyverse is going to get like brought into the MCU. They're like,
and no one told them that was Sony's plan and maybe not Disney's.
yeah, Kevin hasn't agreed to anything.
There is also the little tidbit that I think last week that Dakota Johnson separated from her talent agency and moved to the other
Oh.
big one, which apparently was a big shock and kind of shook Hollywood a little bit.
Ooh.
And that has kind of gone hand in hand with people going, so she was lied to. The talent agency didn't do their due diligence when she asked questions. And she's kind of gone, well, I don't trust her anymore. I'm going. It could be
Yeah.
completely unrelated, but where
Yeah.
there's smoke, there's
Yeah.
usually fire. So that's one of my main concerns.
Mm-hmm.
That as a general rule, when you lie to people,
Yeah, it
it's
means you're
not
hiding stuff.
good news.
No.
The rumor was that they don't know when they wanted the film to take place. So apparently it's taking place in a modern world.
Okay.
But when you look throughout their universe, there is quite literally 10 to 15 references and Easter eggs that lead to it being 2003.
Okay.
And like, it's like one of them things that like can't be a coincidence because it's like big advertisements in the background and like
Yeah.
bits that are seen and heard in the trailer. So all of this stuff happened in 2003.
Okay.
And apparently the rumor was originally they wanted to use this film to launch Andrew Garfield as the Spider-Man. So they were like, okay, so this is going to be set before Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man.
Right.
Because apparently Dakota Johnson's her ambulance partner is rumored to apparently be Ben Parker.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be set before Andrew Garfield.
Right.
In 2003 to show what he was doing so he could then die and it would all then magically intertwine with the Amazing Spider-Man films. It seems like it's been a mess top to bottom. I'm not confident in the slightest that it will be a good film, but I think there is a strong chance it could be one of those great mid-90s, mid-2000s, so bad it's good films. We could have a guilty pleasure icon about to emerge.
Yeah, I think there's a potential that, like you say, it might not be a great film. I think there's a potential that there is an okay, good film there, but like in the grand picture, it makes no fucking sense how it fits in. And like it's just a mess of how they're trying to shoehorn it into something. And that side of it is just like a mess. But the isolated film itself might be okay. And like you say, is like, oh, maybe it's not such a bad like
We're
watch.
kind of in this stage now where everything needs to be a franchise.
Yeah.
And a lot of films that used to be kind of okay are now bad because they're trying to shoehorn a franchise opportunity into it instead of just making a film. I completely agree. One thing I will say is whether this film is good, bad, terrible, fantastic, there are going to be idiots on the internet who try and claim whatever the result is, it's because it's like 4 women leads.
Yeah, it's too woke.
Yeah, if anyone tries to claim this film is bad because it's woke, no, it's bad because Sony are dipshits.
Yeah.
There's a big difference here.
Yeah. Because like,
let's line up a little bit.
There's one thing I've seen, because obviously it seems like they started doing interviews about it, like you said.
Yes, the press is well underway.
Yeah, and I saw there was a clip, I think it was Sydney Sweeney, she was saying how she'd spent time reading the comics and looking at the comics of Julia Carpenter, the character she's playing.
Yeah.
And like she made sure that they, like the way that she hangs upside down, there's like an iconic like pose.
Yeah.
She made sure that they let her character do that in the film, which I think things like that are gonna maybe help it be an okay film if the like actresses have like actually put the time into the source material.
No matter how good or bad this film is, it is only
Sony's fault.
saving grace is that the actors have worked so hard.
Yes.
Like that much is evident. All of like the talent involved in this have
Mm.
worked really hard to try and make the best film they can. If they were given a poor script and it was destroyed in the editing booth,
Yeah, and it was
that's
like,
one thing. But they have definitely worked hard on this.
yeah, I do think any blame will end up landing on Sony for trying to shoehorn it into this Mobius meme Spider-Man world that they've got going.
Yeah.
With vegan Craven and
Vegan Craven. The only bright side is Tom Hardy's Venom, and it sucks that he's even involved in this mess.
yeah,
I'd
but
like him to
Disney's
be
trying
standalone
to
at this point.
Disney's happy to like maybe pull him in on his own. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I want it to be, bearing in mind I'm expecting it to be terrible, I want it to land in the it's so bad it's good category. Because we don't get enough of them films anymore.
Yeah, and I kind of hope it, like we've been saying, like I hope the film's a good enough watch, and it's like I can just go, I don't care if you want this to be part of a bigger unit. I'm just going to treat this as its own little bubble, and in that sense, I can enjoy watching it.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Right. The Super Bowl is tomorrow, as you guys are listening to this.
Yes. So should we talk predictions?
We shall.
So, I have a bold one.
Okay, go
on. Travis? No, Jason. Which one's the one with? I can't remember which way around this is.
Your prediction is, I assume, about Travis Kelce, the boyfriend of Taylor Swift.
Yes, going to propose to Taylor Swift. Have you seen there's a bet?
So here's the thing. I didn't expect us to get into Taylor Swift.
Well, I mean, we're talking Super Bowl. We kind of have to.
Very famously, Taylor Swift's number is 13.
Okay.
There is a fuck ton of 13s baked into everything about this Super Bowl.
Okay.
So you've got Brock Purdy, the quarterback for the 49ers, wears the number 13.
Right.
The game is taking place on the 11th of February, which is 13. 100 minus 13 is 87, which is Travis Kelce's jersey number.
Okay.
There was, what is it? It's been 13 years since something. I can't remember what. Something big involving the Chiefs, I want to say. I believe the amount of losses between the two teams this year, so the amount of times they've lost and we've lost, adds up to 13.
Right.
The flight, so she's performing in Japan the day before.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's a 13-hour flight to get there in time.
It's okay, this is getting a bit weird.
And like, I don't believe in bullshit like this, but what I will say is there's been a lot of accusations this year that the Chiefs have got slightly favourable decisions.
Okay.
Because the NFL, and if you check their social media, you'll see this very quickly, fucking love milking the shit out of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, since it came onto the scene.
And Swifties, because they're such big fans, have been learning football.
Yeah.
And they're doing a very good job learning football. Shout out to them. I'm glad they're enjoying the sport.
Yeah.
And I hope they stick around if Taylor Swift isn't as big a part of it next season.
Yeah.
So they're milking it for all it's worth. And if you were to believe in conspiracy theories and the whole idea that like sports could be rigged, then if you believe in that, bet on the Chiefs. And I'm saying that as a 49ers fan, because I'm telling you right now, the first person to get a good picture of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift having a kiss with the Lombardi trophy there is getting given the entire bag.
Oh, yeah. Like, the press opportunities are through the roof.
49ers for life. In reality, Brock Purdy, wearing number 13, is going to throw for 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns and steal Taylor Swift from Travis Kelce. That's what's going to happen.
He's going to propose to her.
Yeah. Anyway, should we get into our actual predictions?
Yeah, our actual...
What kind of trailers we're going to get during the Super Bowl. So, as always, the Super Bowl has the biggest adverts in all of the world.
Yep, the most expensive slots for adverts.
Yeah, because so many people watch. And as a result, what you get a lot of the time is trailers for
Yep.
TV and film.
Yep.
If there's a big project that they want lots of eyes on, that's where it happens. So as a result of us being a nerd podcast and the franchises we follow spending the most on marketing in the world, there's normally a lot of trailers that appeal to us.
This is true.
So I believe I've got my predictions lined up in order of most likely to least likely.
Oh, I haven't got. I haven't got them in any order. It was just as I mean, my first one is probably the most likely because it came into my head.
Okay, I think for almost dead certainty, we're getting a Deadpool 3 trailer.
Yeah, I agree. I also have that on there.
Yeah, there's been lots of rumors leading up to this anyway. It's not like we're the only ones suggesting this. Like it's been rumored pretty heavily that it's almost guaranteed. I will be shocked if we do not get a Deadpool 3 trailer.
I've just had a thought.
Go on.
So you know how this is for potential what the trailer sort of is? Deadpool memes everything. And usually the Deadpool trailers are a meme. Like it's him in a bathrobe or whatever. Him and Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have their own alcohol brands and have often had a bit of back and forth about who can do the better advert for their. What if it is Deadpool and Wolverine and it's just an advert for their brands, their alcohol brands?
Give us anything.
But then it has like weird cameos in the trailer. And it's just like some weird,
so like they go for like a 3-for-1 ad where they both promote their brand, and then there's a little bit of film footage in there as well.
Yeah, or even if it's just cameos of characters pop in from, I don't know, Professor X shoves his head in and he's like, "I'll have an aviation gin, please." I could see them doing something like that as a bit of a meme trailer.
It is very possible.
But yeah, I do think we get some sort of Deadpool 3 trailer. Of some sort.
The other one that we've not really spoken about, but might end up being something we cover, the new John Krasinski film If.
Oh.
About imaginary friends. It looks interesting. I think they released a trailer the other day. But I think I'm not sure if it's going to be the same trailer as shown at the Super Bowl, or if they've got a new trailer for the Super Bowl. I think it's basically guaranteed we're getting a trailer for that.
Okay.
So it's directed by John Krasinski, starring Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
And basically the whole idea is imaginary friends are real, but as you grow up, you can't see them anymore.
Yeah.
And they find a little girl, and all the imaginary friends are trying to get her to help them, I think is the main concept.
Yeah, it's something like that.
What I will say is the studios must think this is a can't miss, because the amount of money they've already thrown into the advertising for it is crazy.
Yeah, they're probably hoping on it.
This is when we start to get to a little bit less likely, but I'm still pretty confident about.
Okay.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Ooh, I hadn't thought of that one.
Because we both got very excited when we saw they announced that.
Yeah.
It's been a little while. It's a big franchise.
Yeah.
It's been around for a while. That's the kind of thing they'd spend Super Bowl money to promote.
Yeah, and it would really get eyes back on that franchise considering how long it's been. Yeah. I think that's not a bad shout at all, actually.
I also believe that it's due for like a summer release, which would be enough time out to make sense.
Yeah. Now, my prediction, it's one that kind of would make sense to do at the Super Bowl, but I'm not sure if, though they would, I suppose Amazon does have this sort of money. It's a trailer for The Boys.
Oh.
Because that's, I could see them, it's the platform.
You're right.
Take the piss.
I have a TV show on my list, but I didn't even consider The Boys. You're absolutely right. That is definitely the kind of thing we might get a trailer for.
Yeah. Something that's almost a parody.
Yeah, I guess it almost depends if they want to be able to be aggressive in their trailer or not. If they're okay with toning the trailer down.
Yeah. Which I think they could.
They will. But if they still want to keep The Boys as this big over the top sex, blood, violence, drugs, it might not be worth the Super Bowl money.
True.
But no, that's definitely a possibility. One that I am skeptical about but hoping for,
Okay.
trailer for the Acolyte.
Ooh, see, I nearly put that on my list, and then I put Andor season 2
Oh, okay.
because we know that's pretty much done. So
We
like,
don't have a release date for
no, we
Andor season 2,
don't.
do
But
we?
that's what I mean. Like maybe they'll
Oh, but yeah, I guess
tease.
they could announce the release date along with a trailer. That'd be even more hype.
But yeah,
I
Acolyte is also a good shout.
because we know Acolyte is due end of summer this year, I think.
Somewhere around then, yeah.
And it's been shrouded in mystery, but they've said there's news coming soon.
Yep.
There was a post put out in Variety today, about Star Wars saying "see you tomorrow" or something.
Oh,
Or
okay.
hello. It was like hello there. So some people think there might be a Kenobi season 2 announcement coming.
Oh,
I will be amazed if we don't get something related to Star Wars.
yeah. See, that's what I was like. It's not one of the 3 films that they've announced because they're too far away. Like we're not anywhere near. And I
Yeah.
was like, there's no Mando thing that's close, and there's no Ahsoka that's close.
In reality, it's got to be Kenobi season 2, Acolyte, or Andor season 2.
Yeah, I don't see them doing Bad Batch, but they
Nah, they
might.
wouldn't. You
But
don't spend super money on an animated show.
no. So yeah, I do think there'll be something Star Wars. Acolyte could be a good shout, or maybe we do get like a Kenobi season 2, maybe.
And this is one I'd forgotten about till I was looking at what was coming out this year as to what might spend that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big long shot.
Okay.
Joker, Folie à Deux.
Oh, yeah, because
Now,
there's not
I
going to be
know.
a DC thing anytime soon.
No. So, obviously, these films are made on a bit of a smaller budget because they're R rated.
Mm,
But Joker was such a success.
yeah.
We've not seen really anything about Joker Folie à Deux.
Mm-hmm.
I
True.
think it's a bit of a stretch just because of like Superbowl money, but it's definitely possible. And like you said, because DC don't have anything else coming out this year, DC's marketing budget might allow them to
Yeah.
make it happen.
If James Gunn wants to keep some attention on DC, yeah.
Mm.
Now, I have one that wouldn't even really be in our realm of discussion, but due to I saw it on Twitter yesterday, is the Moana title teaser for Moana 2. Disney like to spend money on trailers. Whether they actually just then released a Moana 2 trailer.
Kid film?
Yeah, but Disney pitches to parents because they're the ones that take the kids to the cinema.
Yeah, true.
And it's Super Bowl. Families are all around.
Yeah,
watching.
family watch parties to Super Bowl.
So that's why I was like, there's a potential of like a big Disney film for them to like focus anything on. It potentially could be Moana 2.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I definitely think we're going to get some exciting ones. What I really want is I want to be surprised. I want there to be one that like wasn't even in our thought, and we're like, oh my god, that's so hype. Which I think is getting harder and harder the longer we
I
do
have
this, to
one
be, like, surprised.
Almost not gonna happen, but would
Go on.
kind of love for it to happen. The final forecast to get revealed.
That would be hype as fuck.
And I saw a thing on Twitter, and it's like one of those, like, someone claims it's a rumor, but it's probably just a fan idea of it happens at the end of the Deadpool 3 trailer. He goes, like, breaks the third wall, and he goes, well, Marvel's not telling you, so I'm going to tell you. And then he just lists the cast off.
It would be very hype. It'd be a weird way to do it, but it would be hype as fuck.
Yeah, and it would garner a lot of discussion if it's like Deadpool reveals the Fantastic Forecast.
The big thing during the Super Bowl is always, obviously, the Super Bowl is like trending everywhere. If you can be the ad that is as close to the top of that as possible, it's worth every penny of the advertising money. That would be a really, really cool way for people to get a bit more hype around it. We'll obviously get some trailers for some other stuff.
Oh yeah, and there'll be usual beer trailers and everything.
apparently there are some shock ones that some of the big scoopers haven't seen anyone talking about. So hopefully they're ones that we'd be interested in as well.
Okay. And before there's a Fast and Furious trailer.
Don't. Fucking saw Christopher Nolan said in an interview today that he quite likes the Fast and Furious films. So
Oh,
now
no.
I'm not allowed to like any Christopher Nolan project
Oh,
because the
no.
man clearly doesn't know ball. But yeah, I find it every year more and more difficult to be surprised by Super Bowl trailers because I'm more plugged into what's coming. But even if there's just one where I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that, that's so hype. Or even if it's like one that's been worked on quite quietly that they're now ready to show off. Or even if there's something that's been very public but I didn't even know I liked the idea of until I saw the trailer, I'll be very happy. But of course, no amount of good Super Bowl ads are going to save my mood if the 49ers lose. So
that's right. My team absolutely choked it in the playoffs as always.
Big time. Right. Disney Plus.
Yes.
So
our favorite platform.
Yeah. So we said last week that they've changed their terms of service to ban password sharing.
Yeah.
Now, just because it's been added in doesn't mean they're going to enforce it or they have to enforce it, but it means they can enforce it, which means they probably will enforce it.
Yeah.
And of course, it's difficult to prove password sharing, so realistically, the way they're going to do it is households.
Yeah.
Which is going to end up being a problem because we're currently using it in 3 separate households, and it's going to be 4 when me and Jenna move. So that's fun. But they've not exactly had a thrilling start to Q1 of 2024, as it's been announced that after their price rises, they've lost 1.3 million active subscribers in Q1. Now, what I will say is a lot of stuff like that, I believe, does tend to fall off after Christmas. Because a lot of the time, as like a Christmas present, people will gift like a year subscription to a service. And also, if you last Christmas bought one and it ran out this Christmas and you've had a particularly expensive Christmas, you might not have the money to renew yet.
Yeah.
So that is possible. But 1.3 million is a fuck ton of subscribers to lose. And it coming so directly after a price hike means that a fair whack of that is still going to be down to the price hike.
Yeah, I think for it to be that large in Q1, I agree. It's got to be from the price hike. Also, the password sharing news being more than just Canada now. I think, like we've said, what usually happens is this news comes out, they're doing password sharing. People make an account for 1 month to finish the shows they're watching, and then they cancel. So it's like that will be playing into it. I think, yeah, just the current economy and people trying to save money, especially straight after Christmas. Often people will start the year, kind of reassess their finances for the next year and make cuts and saves where they can. I think you'll probably find even some people over the holiday period might have signed up to Disney Plus because they knew there was family and kids round and they make sure they've got stuff to watch. Christmas films.
Disney, Disney has more Christmas films than any other platform.
Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if people are like, right, we're done with that. We don't need it now.
I'd probably say 75% that is in some way because of the price hikes. And then the other 25% would be general fluctuation. Yeah. I'm saying that as someone who doesn't work in this industry, I have no information to back that up.
Yeah,
I just know I know a bit about like how the world works and how people choose to spend their money. Not all of that will be due to the price hikes. But some it definitely will be. The interesting thing though, in my opinion, is like Disney aren't worried. Clearly, they've just lost £10 million in revenue a month. That's what that is. That's £10 million of revenue.
It's wild.
And they've still gone out and invested 1.5 billion.
Oh, in the
in
Epic
Epic. Yeah,
Games.
we'll leave Josh to discuss that a bit more next week. But they're clearly not worried about that. They clearly think when this password crackdown comes in that they're gonna end up financially better off.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe they predicted. See, this is also the thing. It's like I know with statistics, people twist numbers to work in their favor. It's like how much of this has kind of like some of this fall off been hidden and then they're like pulled it from a previous quarter and they're like, oh well, it's like, you know, when it's just like a number hits and it's a longer period of time that it's happened over. So and it looks worse than it is or something. But also at the same time, like Disney makes so much money. It probably isn't that big of an issue to them.
But like if in Q1 through 4 last year, they netted like 1 million more subscribers every quarter. One down quarter isn't a problem, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the time in companies, they compare the same period last year. So if they go, okay, we know from the last 5 years running Disney Plus or whatever it is now, that in Q1 we always lose subscribers.
Yeah.
Because of financials, Christmas, whatever.
Yeah.
And they know it's normally X% of however many people are subscribed. Yeah. So say in the first year they had 1 million subscribers, they lost 100,000 in Q1 of the second year. They okay, we lost 10%.
Yep.
But then it's got up to say 100 million subscribers. Now I'm not saying that's what numbers are. They're like, right, we lost 1 million. Cool. That's only 1% though.
Yeah.
So we're fine. So I don't know if maybe that's why they're not worried. They're like, yeah, cool. Q1's always a down Q. It happens.
Yeah, and maybe with the current economics, they're like expected to have a big they've planned for this.
They will have forecasted this stuff. For all you know, they forecasted losing 3 million subscribers, and they're all partying right now. Going, we only lost 1.3.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like everyone's reading this and going, "Oh my god, that's so many," but we don't know if they predicted they'd actually lose more. So
yeah. But I mean, it's only a problem if they were expecting to gain subscribers and they lost subscribers.
Exactly.
And again, like say, depending on where you put like the point of reference, changes that information so much.
Yeah, it's like
normally they net 1 million subscribers and they lose 1 million. That's like, oh, that's a bad month. If they normally net 10 million and they lose 1 million, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, and it's like if the headline was Disney execs panicking over 1.3 million subscriber loss, then it'd be like, oh shit, this isn't good. They're not happy. If we're not hearing anything, it's just a number that they've put out. Okay.
Yeah. It is interesting though, and we'll see. I mean, based on what Netflix said about their password crackdown, it has seen an increase in revenue. People don't take to the open seas as much anymore. And I think this is actually going to become a bit of a problem. I think we might need more sea people kind of fight back.
You had to be careful about what you said then.
I just don't want to outwardly say it because it's one of them things that in the future just ends up being a problem and you just know it. But hey, a good hat when you're on the open seas is always worth considering. Because Disney are a multi-billion-dollar company. This is true. They don't need to force like the 10 people who use our Disney Plus account.
Yeah. There's better. We've discussed it many times, but there is better options than just doing a password sharing thing.
If they said to me, "We've noticed you're in 4 households. You need to buy a 4 household pass. That will take your yearly price up from £80 a year to £100 a year." We're not going to care.
Yeah, just give more options like for multiple households or multiple screens, and like people will pay that over making a new account.
Yeah. And I promise you, overall, they would make just as much, if not more money doing it that way.
Yeah, agreed.
It's that simple. Nerdy news time.
Yes. Been quite a week of nerdy news.
Yes, and it's been a bit all over the place with the nerdy news.
Yeah.
First and foremost,
Percy
Jackson has been picked up for a second season.
Not much of a surprise.
Yeah. And that is after being the first show on Disney Plus to put up comparable numbers to a Star Wars or Marvel project.
I'm telling you, book fandoms go hard.
Yeah, they do, especially ones that have been starved for years.
Yeah. Like,
we knew it had done well just based on what
yeah.
we were seeing, but you never know until you get the raw numbers. For Disney to come out, and in like the press release announcing it, they went, "This is the first thing on Disney Plus that has even got close to our major franchises of Star Wars and Marvel." There's clearly a first for this. We're going to keep on pursuing it. We want this to go on for a long, long time,
Mhm.
and we're not going to spare any expense.
That's what you love to hear. And
Like,
hopefully they give it a bit more freedom now to do like
yes,
length of seasons and whatever they want.
give us the 12 episodes. People watched it and they weren't ecstatic about it. You want this to last for a long time? Listen to the fans. They want the 12 episodes. They don't want you to rush things. Do it right, and you'll see the benefit of it even more so.
Yeah.
The Marvels has launched on Disney Plus.
Yes, it has.
And Twitter seems to be changing its opinion on it.
No.
So I have a real question here, and I try not to get annoyed about this because I know Twitter always changes its mind. And it's not bad to change your mind, but it's such a hive mentality. When something's not great, it's dog shit.
Yeah.
And then eventually just everything comes full circle. It's crazy. Yep. I dislike it. This is a really bad one for me, though, because the amount of people I've seen tweeting going, "So I watched the Marvels on Disney Plus. Why didn't you tell me it was this good?" Motherfucker, we were telling you. We were screaming that it was good. We sat here and we went, "You're doing yourself a disservice by not going to see it in the cinema. Stop letting people," and this goes for us as well, stop letting people on the internet tell you if something is good or bad.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, go see it. I think an issue as well is like people are so stuck in, they've been burnt a little bit by some Marvel projects not being as good. So they're like, oh, Marvel's fallen off. Don't care about Marvel anymore. And then because it's not like this raving like internet sensation of them talking about the Marvels, like, yes, there was the fans were saying it was good like us, but because it wasn't like Barbenheimer level of the internet talking about it, they don't listen. And then it's like, oh, that Marvel's film's on Disney Plus, should we watch it? And then they watch it like, oh, this was really good. Marvel's still good? And it's like, yes, like Marvel's still been doing good stuff. But
it's one of these things where it is obviously completely normal for your opinion to be coloured by stuff you listen to. Like, that's the big fear about elderly people and, I mean, just your parents who just use Facebook all the time and they don't validate the information they get. And then they'll say something, you're like, that is not true at all. Where the fuck did you hear that? So I get the idea that, like, you go on Twitter, you just see loads of people ragging on the film, you're like, fine, I won't go see it. But it seems to be that people don't look at who's saying it. So like, when I'm trying to make a decision about something I don't have as much knowledge on, I like have a content creator, news source that I trust about that topic, and I use that to colour my opinion slightly.
Yeah.
And then I go get a secondary and a tertiary. And then if I'm still on the fence, I try and do my own research.
Yeah.
When it comes to films, I actually don't engage with that much film content anyway, because I'm a bit set in my ways, for better or worse. But I'm then kind of like, okay, I want to go see this film. I see everyone going, oh, it's going to be terrible, this, that, and the other. I'm like, cool, I've already decided I'm going to go see it, I don't care. And then I make my decision. I do not want anyone ever to see that we've disliked something and then solely based on that side, they're not even going to give it a chance.
Yeah. I think people too quickly like just listen to what a couple of people with a lot of followers might say, and then like, ah, oh, this is the opinion of the internet.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like, my sister, God bless her, she loves watching films. She does. But she will watch any old shit. I couldn't do it. But she'll sit there and she'll like, I quite like that. And I'm there and I'm like, I've watched that film. That film is god awful. But fair fucks to her. She doesn't let people saying, oh, that film's awful, just wait. She's like, well, I'll watch it and decide myself.
Yeah.
Be my sister. Just don't give a fuck. If you want to watch it, just watch it. If it ends up being shit, cool. It's still an experience. I just don't understand these people who just live and die by random people on Twitter. Because a lot of the people on Twitter, I know for a fact, said, "Oh, it's shit. Don't go watch it." Were just regurgitating what they heard someone else say, and they hadn't even watched it themselves.
Yeah, Twitter is definitely the worst for it by far.
Yeah.
But I will
also,
say
it's important to support media in the cinema.
Yeah.
Because, and I saw a clip about Matt Damon talking about this. Films don't make as much money now, and films are more black and white success or a failure because DVD is dying.
Yes.
DVD is dying because of streaming services. So what they used to do was they used to go, right, 100 million budget, 50 million in market, and that's 150 million before you break even.
Yep.
Make 100 million at cinema, you're still 50 million negative, but 6 months' time, when it comes to DVD, you're going to make another 100 million on DVD sales. You're going to end up 50 million positive. That is tidy.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
And on top of the DVDs not being sold anymore, you get it released on streaming services a month after it's out of the cinema, which means the people are less inclined to go to the cinema because they don't have to wait as long.
Yeah.
The amount of films I went to see in the cinema when I was younger, and I'm not even that old. Like, I'm getting old, but I'm not that old. That I would go to see in the cinema, and then 6 months later when it came on DVD, because my dad, God bless his soul, he cherishes physical media. He's better than me for it. I need to be better at getting physical media. We've got such a wham DVD collection. He'd go out there, he buys it, and I'd go and we'd watch it again straight away. Because I hadn't seen it in 6 months. I'd not been able to see it in 6 months.
Yeah, that's like the amount of times I remember I'd go see a film at the cinema in the summer, because often lots of summer releases, and then I'd ask for like all the DVDs because they'd be out for Christmas. And it's like, then you get to watch them all again, like 6 months later. Yeah. It is an issue. I think streaming can, with the new deals and stuff, I do think streaming can get to a point where like it helps monetary wise the same as DVDs did, but they need to stop releasing it immediately after the cinema, because you're hurting cinema, which is then hurting your own revenue. And then you thinking, oh, well, that was a bad film, we shouldn't do that again. And then we're getting, they're just hurting themselves by trying to cut corners on themselves. It's so.
I promise you, if they put a film in the cinema, they say it will be in the cinema for a month. 6 months after it finishes its run in the cinema, DVDs come out. 6 months after it's come out in stores to buy, it goes on streaming services. I guarantee you they make more money that way. And not just the company that owns the rights, but obviously movies, cinema theaters are going to make more money. The people who stock and buy DVDs and sell DVDs are going to make more money. It helps fund the economy. Rich people hoarding money for themselves staggers the economy.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time where it was like digital release was like a month before DVD, if that. And it'd be like, oh, digital is this, and then it's out on DVD at the end of the month. Why they don't just go back to that and go like, I don't know, 5 months later it comes out on streaming, and then within the month after that, you can get it on DVD.
Do you know what I think the best iteration was for a little while? It was when DVD came out. If you pre-ordered the brand new DVD, you got a digital code for it as well.
The digital codes, I remember them.
Yeah, so you would go out, you'd buy your brand new DVD, but guess what? If you didn't want to put the DVD in the DVD player, here's the digital code so you can watch it. Yeah. Or like if you pre-ordered it, they'd send you the digital code so you could watch it straight away, and then you'd get the DVD in like 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Even going back to something like that would help so much.
Yeah, they just need to just wait. Just stop doing it like a month after, that's all.
Because it comes on to what I'm going to make our next point about digital media not being protected. Funimation.
Yes.
The second biggest anime platform.
Yep.
Was bought by Sony. Who owns Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Sony are now shutting Funimation. Crunchyroll are taking like the guts of it, all of the rights to everything. So people who bought digital versions on Funimation are losing access to their digital versions they paid for, which means they never truly owned it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, Crunchyroll are like doubling their subscription price.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a messy situation, really, because it's like, so when Crunchyroll announced that they were like going to merge with Funimation, obviously anime fans were very happy. They're like, oh my god, we love how Crunchyroll is set up. It's very easy to use and convenient, which is what everyone wants from a streaming service. We can now get even more of our content. It's all going to be in one place. Cool. Then, like, as the details have come out now about this merger, what once was, yeah, the stuff on Funimation you'll keep, they're going, yeah, no, that's not being transferred over. Which my prediction is, everything comes back to a cost thing. They just don't want to fork out the cost to put the infrastructure in on Crunchyroll to figure that out, who owns certain shows and who doesn't, because there isn't like that isn't already on Crunchyroll. And then the price thing, I know they're going to reason it as well. You're getting twice the content, so the price needs to go up. And it's like, yeah, I get your point, but like to just double it is rough. And some people go, well, it's about the same as a normal streaming platform now after it's doubled. It's like, yeah, okay. Now my collection of streaming services are going to cost even more. People are already like stopping getting, like, they'll drop Netflix because they have Disney Plus and Prime, or like they'll suddenly, like, your anime fans are going to be like, well, goodbye Netflix, goodbye Prime. Like, I only need Crunchyroll now.
At the end of the day, and I don't know, maybe I'm going to get called a communist in the comments for this.
Okay.
Anyone like myself who works a full-time job should be able to eat, sleep in a place that is their home, and be able to afford some level of entertainment without having to worry about anything. Should be the fucking bare minimum. It's 2024.
Yeah.
I should be able to go and work my job, no matter what fucking job it is, for a full week and do that and know that I don't need to worry about food when I get home, don't need to worry about heat when I get home, and I can sit down and watch whatever. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that everyone should necessarily have so much money that they can afford every single streaming service on like the highest tier. Do I think that maybe we should be able to put people in that position? Yes. But I'm not necessarily saying we have to go that extreme with it. But
Yeah.
if you're an anime fan, you should be able to afford that without having to, like, I don't know, eat like shit.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. It's getting to the point, and it's been the joke for a few years now, but we're getting back to where we were before streaming services. And in some cases, it's now more expensive.
Yeah, it's getting back to like cable prices and like
Yeah.
Sky price. Here's my thought. It's like the more sensible option, which they won't want to do because it's potentially less money for them and whatever. It's like, cool. You want to merge Funimation and Crunchyroll into one place. Do that. But then give subscription options of, I just want to subscribe to the Crunchyroll catalog or just the Funimation catalog. Because, like, for me, I don't know what's in the Funimation. Maybe there is some stuff in there that I want to watch, but there might be nothing in there. And it's like, well, I'm paying for all this content that I don't actually care for. You should let people pick their catalogs and just have it as, if you want both, yeah, you pay double the price. If you want just one of them, you keep the lower cost. And when they merge content, you should keep it as like options.
And this was the beauty of Funimation, based on what I understand. I never subscribed, but if you didn't want to pay the subscription for everything, you could buy the show you wanted to watch. Brilliant. Except now you're losing access to that forever. And that means anything that you have bought digitally can just be taken away from you in an instant. And if it can just be taken away in an instant with no repercussions, you never really owned it.
Yeah. It's definitely opened up a bigger issue.
Like, I'm not saying that buying an anime is the same as buying a house. I get they're fundamentally different, but the logic remains. Imagine you buy your house, you put your deposit down, you never miss a payment, and then just all of a sudden the bank goes, no, we're actually merging with this other bank, and this bank wants the house.
Yeah.
They can't do that.
Well, it's like,
Yeah.
put
And
it,
I get
a,
it's
well,
fundamentally
a
different, but at the
better
same time,
example,
why is it different?
a better example is like, oh, our bank's merging with another one. That savings account, which all your money was digital,
Yeah.
you have a new account over here, but you don't get to keep anything that was in it.
Yeah.
It's like, excuse me?
How is it legal? I will be honest. I'm sitting up here on my high horse. I'm not good enough at preserving physical media.
Yeah, I've fallen
And
off from it.
and I've been aware that it's a problem and it's something I want to rectify. This has been a massive wake up call for me. To see something like that on such a large scale that doesn't even directly affect me, I'm like, right. If there is something you love, if there is a TV show you love, if you're a massive Office fan, buy the Office box set, protect it. And I know there are services that allow you to host your own server, either via the cloud or locally, where you can take DVDs and only stuff you, of course, own privately, and you can rip it from that and upload it to the server for
Yes.
you. So, if you still want to watch it via a streaming service, maybe do something like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you could still lend your DVDs to your friend then, and you'd still have access because that is completely fucking legal.
Yeah.
Just something to consider, people. We're gonna go on to a bit of Fantastic Four news here.
Okay.
So Matt Shakman, I'm never sure how to pronounce his last name, who is of course directing Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Shared a post on his Instagram story.
Okay.
About the rumors that Pedro Pascal was getting ready to start filming Fantastic Four.
Yes.
So that seems to me, maybe I'm being crazy here, to confirm Pedro Pascal was Mr. Fantastic.
I feel like at this point, if he isn't, they are going to make a lot of people pissed and essentially will just ruin the chances of Fantastic Four. Because it's at the point now where, like, if this was just they're letting it run, they've kind of letting it run too long if it's not true. And it's like, if you turn around and go, oh, he isn't fantastic, we never said he was Fantastic Four, people are going to be, one, pissed at Pedro Pascal that he didn't come out and say publicly, no, I'm not doing that. And then they'll also be just pissed at Marvel as like, well, why the fuck did you let us think he was? And now you've got this other person. And then it'll just be a whole, well, Pedro Pascal was a better cast. So I think we are fair in assuming that this is true.
Yes. I would be amazed at this point if it isn't Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to find out the rest of the cast. Like, here's the thing with the Fantastic Four, in my opinion. One casting can be great, but if you've got the 3 other people wrong, it throws off everything. You've got to cast them as a unit of 4.
Yep.
So I need to see the other castings before I know if it's good casting. Do I think Pedro Pascal can be a brilliant Mr. Fantastic? Yes, absolutely. He's a brilliant actor. But it's only a good casting if it looks and feels right.
The squad needs to be right
with the other 3.
Yeah.
And I genuinely, like, there's not many I'm like with castings that it's about the group. Fantastic Four is very much, there are loads of brilliant actors who could play any of them roles, but they've all got to line up and be the right 4.
Yeah.
So
no, you're right.
we get a bit of information for sure about who the others are soon, and then we can start to work out how good we can be eating. Because I'm so ready for a good Fantastic Four adaptation. I don't know if I can take another bad one.
Fingers crossed.
I don't know if I've got it in me. We do unfortunately now have to move on to some sad news.
Yeah, there's a couple of bit of sad news.
Yes. So on the set of the Marvel show Wonder Man, a crew member has tragically passed away after an accident where they fell from the
rigging.
rafters.
Yeah.
Really just terribly sad. It's really, really sad, obviously, when anyone passes away, especially in an accidental situation. and it really sucks. I hate doing the whole thoughts and prayers bullshit that you see people do a lot of the time, but I do hope that his family are okay. I hope that Disney and Marvel are going to do anything they can to help them.
Yeah, and I hope like any of the crew that probably worked quite closely with this person, like they're looked after, made sure they're okay. Because like if it's someone that they've been working with as a crew for a while and it's like a unit, situations like this is very sad, obviously.
Yeah. No one should ever have to go to work and not come home.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really sad. So make sure you say I love you to your loved ones today.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Weathers,
Yes.
best known for his roles as Apollo Creed in the Rocky films.
Mm-hmm.
He was a character in the Predator films, not that I've watched them.
Yep.
And of course, more recently, he was in Star Wars,
Yep.
in The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Has sadly passed away at the age of 76.
Yeah. I mean, obviously 76 nowadays is still kind of young.
Yeah, you're completely right. In the modern age, 76 is still almost a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
It's
a
really
shame.
crazy because he's an absolute icon.
Mm.
And when you look at the period of time he was coming up in these blockbusters like the Rocky films and the Predator films, he will have absolutely inspired a generation of black actors.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Obviously I adore him as Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
My personal favorite role of his was in Happy Gilmore.
Oh, I don't know if I can remember that.
He played the coach with the wooden hand.
Oh, I think I vaguely do remember that.
I think he's absolutely brilliant in that. But yeah, just watching the outpouring of love for all of his performances over the years, it's always a bittersweet thing. You never want to have to see everyone talking about how much they loved an actor, but it's always nice to, like, instead of it just be this big cloud of sadness, everyone kind of sit down and go, yeah, Apollo Creed was a fucking boss. Like,
Yeah.
what a character. And he is so effortless with it. He was an absolute athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very sad. And I hope his family's all okay. And thank goodness for them great immortalized performances in such big things.
Oh yeah.
So that we can always go back and look fondly.
For sure.
That is it this week.
That is.
There is no Content Championship anymore. Content Championship is over.
Well, yeah, Content Championship finished last week at the end of season 1.
Yes, we'll be moving on to the fandom face-off, but that is now done separately from the podcast.
It is. So make sure you keep an eye out for that video on our channel over on YouTube if you're listening on audio platforms.
Make sure you've liked and subscribed.
Yeah, let us know what you think of the new format, the new edit of the podcast. Hopefully, if you're watching on YouTube, hopefully you've enjoyed it more.
Yeah, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.